VanDykeMortgage.com.
Corporate NMLS 3035. Van Dyke Mortgage is an equal housing lender. Charlie Sundstrom, NMLS 134251.
Hello, my name is Don Wiskin from HeartDrop.com, the distributors of Extendivite, the #1 heart drop that people have been raving about for years. Every February for the last 16 years, HeartDrop.com has had a Heart Month sale to help you stay heart healthy. For only $115 plus shipping and handling, you can get a 4-month supply of Extendivite in either liquid or capsule form to help you get started on your path to better health. Now is the time to stock up. Order what you need. Stay heart healthy all year with the #1 heart drop, Extendivite. To order your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822. Or visit our website, heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Arcade City is a ride-sharing app built by drivers for drivers. It's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. With Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn. Sign up now to drive for Arcade City at arcade.freetalklive.com. Arcade City was created by New Hampshire liberty activist Christopher David. When he publicized the idea in January 2016, he hoped to recruit 100 drivers by the end of the month. Instead, he blew past his goal with over 1,300 drivers signing up in just 2 weeks. Arcade City is connecting drivers directly with riders and is disrupting the already disrupted transportation industry. If you want to get involved, you can join as a rider or driver. To ride with Arcade City, visit arcaderide.freetalklive.com. To drive with Arcade City, visit arcade.freetalklive.com. That's arcade.freetalklive.com to drive, or arcaderide.freetalklive.com to ride with Arcade City.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. We got time for you. If you want to join us here, 855-450-FREE is our toll-free number. That's 855-450-3733. Also, you can Skype into the show. The Skype username here is LRN.FM. It's yet another primary night. The South Carolinian Democratic primary is going on. And if you feel like commenting on that, you're welcome to. But also, D.C. passing a legalized marijuana ballot initiative back in about a year ago. It was February 26th of 2015 when it became legal for adults in Washington, D.C. to possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana. Well, how's it been going in the last year? We'll get the Washington Post's viewpoint here, and you can share your thoughts as well at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Mark, you've been using Super Beets.
Yeah, I've been taking this supplement, and for those of you who have seen, beets in the sort of the nutritional news, you know that beets are a great source of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, there was a team in 1998 that got the Nobel Prize for their research into nitric oxide. And one of the guys from that team, this doctor worked with one of those guys that was from that team. What he did is he found the best dietary source for nitric oxide. That's beets. And then he tried to figure out a way to make it consistent, because it was really difficult. You test one set of beets from one place, one set of beets from another. And so what he ended up doing was contracting with a farm to only grow beets for him. So these are non-GMO beets grown in California to the specifications that he's looking for. And he's one of the foremost experts on this nitric oxide research. What it does is it helps to regulate blood pressure and generally increase sort of heart health. So basically, if you're a human being and you live long enough, you're going to have cardiovascular issues. Nitric oxide will help you with that. So basically, people above the age of 40 should really be looking at this. I have high blood pressure. It started about age 40, and this helps me regulate it. All you have to do is take one of these. You can take it twice a day if you want. I've been taking it once a day. It is cherry flavored, so you don't have to get that awful beet flavor if you don't like it. I like beets fine, but some people really don't like them. And you just add it to some water, some yogurt, a smoothie, whatever. And check this out. If you don't feel the results, you don't pay guaranteed. You get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You'll also get the nitric oxide indicator strips to prove it's working. And you get the free book, Beat the Odds. All of it comes with free shipping. You give them a call here at this number, or go to the website, FTL Beats. That says FTL is in Free Talk Live, FTLBeats.com, 800-951-8940. FTLBeats.com, 800-951-8940.
All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts. You can bring up what you want. Dana is on the line in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live, I believe, listening in our very own Keene. Go ahead, Dana.
Yeah, greetings from our town here, Keene,
Welcome.
New Hampshire. How are you guys doing?
Excellent, sir. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Listen, you've been talking about this legalization of marijuana, and I think I'm just repeating what you guys said. But, I was talking to a policeman the other day. He's in his late 70s. He was a policeman around here a long time ago, retired in the early 2000s, I believe. Even he was griping. He was saying, the expanse and the size and the scope of these police forces, they keep on broadening and hiring more and more people. And even he thought it was ridiculous compared to what they had back in the 60s and 70s and even the 80s. And then I read an article a while ago, too, about all the things that you can get arrested for nowadays that you couldn't 40 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
It basically comes down to, they have to have more laws to keep the cops that they have busy. You can't have a lean down system that you only arrest people for really grievous crimes. I mean, they arrest you for idiotic things like an open container or marijuana possession. It's just like Reagan said, once you expand government, it's almost impossible to shrink it down.
The closest thing to eternity. The one thing I wonder about that is, so if you reallocated law enforcement towards crime solving, so there's violent crime that's gone on all over America, and if you put police forces, put these guys on investigations trying to figure out, who stabbed whom, who robbed whom, all these things, and pulled them off of the drug enforcement, it seems like you'd catch a few more of the people who did those crimes. Not, obviously you're never going to get 100% enforcement.
Well, you would. And here's another thing, too. I was watching a show about a year ago, and these cops in Chicago were arresting people. They put a woman, a fairly nice-looking girl, on the side of the road, in the city, and she acted like a hooker. Okay, and these guys would pull up to them and pull up to her, and they would say, "Hey, how you doing?" And they didn't even discuss money. This was the horrible part. They didn't even discuss money or engage in an illegal act. They were arrested immediately when they pulled up to talk to her. The cops confiscated their car, and it cost them $1,000 to get their car back.
It's impounded,
and the
right?
cops were, impounded. And the cops were actually laughing about, "Oh, geez, we got 12 of them tonight." And I mean, they basically came out and said, "We're just doing this to raise revenue." Sure. I mean,
Wow.
$10,000.
What was the
a night.
pretense on what? I mean, if they didn't actually make a deal for sex, what was the arrest for?
Well, here's the thing. This is the thing that was amazing. They didn't arrest these guys. They detained them and they said, "Listen, it's $1,000 to get your car back, and we won't arrest you." It's
Just
a
a
shake.
shakedown.
It was a legal shakedown. All it was,
Wow.
we won't put your name in the paper if you give us $1,000 to get your car back. And most people would just say, "Yeah, I'll pay the $1,000."
Right,
to
because
avoid, half these guys were
because
married,
the
you know
arrest
what I mean?
is almost as bad as the conviction, meaning that if they show up
Right.
in the newspaper being arrested for soliciting prostitution, then then they feel like they're ruined. Their reputation has been ruined if their business associates or their fellow church members see their name in the paper, even if they didn't actually get to the point of making the deal.
Well,
Absolutely.
I used to
That's
have
what
to
they
drive
did,
through
man.
this kind of rough part of town at one point when I lived down in Florida, and I'd stopped off at a convenience store to get, I think, some cigars back when I smoked. And this gal approached me in the parking lot and asked me for a ride. And, I'll admit she was a good-looking gal, and that probably, affected my decision to give her a ride. And after we got a little ways down the road, like I probably hadn't really pulled out very far,
Yep.
she then told me essentially the pretext for the ride was that, she wanted to exchange money for sex.
Oh.
And,
Right.
I'm petrified of any kind of trouble or anything like that, and it wasn't going to make my life better to do that. So
Yeah.
I asked her, do you need a ride, or is this what you wanted to talk about? Because if this is what you wanted to talk about, I probably should put you back out on the streets so that you can find somebody you're going to make money from, because it's not going to be me. And
Right.
I dropped her off relatively short distance away, but that could have been me in a jail cell
Could
simply
very well
for giving
been.
somebody a ride.
Hey, Dana, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate
Yeah,
you
no
bringing
problem.
that up.
No
The
problem.
toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Whether it's prostitution or drugs, if it doesn't involve a victim, the police shouldn't be spending their time on it. But you can share your thoughts with us here at 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
The final phase of extermination is set to commence now. And as population die-off becomes evident, you know it is the time of punishment in all that is written. The cover for mass die-off is evolution and global warming frauds, also used as false proof of their Christ. They are from the lines that were disinherited 2,000 years ago. Now they claim to be his Christ based upon blood type, DNA, and long lifespan. Go to unveilingthem.com. That's UNVEILING them.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of slingbow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Like most married couples, Dale and Barbara Patterson like to shake things up from time to time. The couple of 12 years says they've been able to keep their relationship spontaneous and interesting by bickering in all sorts of different positions and even different rooms.
There was a while there when our petty nitpicking got pretty predictable. Dale would finish harping on some stupid bullshit first, and before I had time to get a word in, he would just let out a groan, roll over, and fall asleep. Now he really takes his time ripping me a new one over every little thing.
Maybe we'll just pounce on each other the second we get home from work in the evening. And then just go right back at it in the morning. I mean, sometimes we'll look at each other directly in the eyes when we're having an argument. Other times she turns her back on me and I just scream at her from behind.
We're not exactly shy about doing it in public anymore. Dale gets pretty worked up when there are people around who could be watching or listening.
Still can't believe you forgot.
Not now.
Oh, come on.
I said not now.
Oh,
what?
Don't even.
Don't even what? I asked.
This is the Onion News Network. This is your Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Friday, gold is down $8 at $1,226 per ounce. Silver is 25 cents lower at $14.95 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $424 US. It's the end of the week and we're seeing a slight sell-off in gold and silver. To take advantage of this, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you got to keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here on the radio. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. You want to get big savings at Amazon, go to saveitpurse.com and start locking in 20% easily on pretty much anything you want to buy. You can save more than 20% as well. It's just up to you how long you're willing to wait before the sale transacts. And so the higher the discount, the longer it might take to actually make the deal. But so far, I've had great luck with SaveItPurse.com. I've had over 40 purchases made in the last year and have saved nearly $1,000 that I would have otherwise spent. These aren't like frivolous. Most of them are not frivolous purchases. They're things that I would have needed to buy. And so I could either pay full price or I can save 20% or more. So what would you choose? If you could save 20% on every purchase at Amazon, why wouldn't you want to do that? Now, the catch is you have to have Bitcoin in order to make this possible. If you don't have Bitcoin, you can't make these big savings. Go to saveitpurse.com. You can start there, learn how it works. It's a very simple process and it's very powerful. So great excuse to get Bitcoin, which is an amazing decentralized currency, not created by any bank or government. Bitcoin's awesome. So start at saveitpurse.com and learn more about that. It's Ian and Mark in the studio here with you tonight. Marijuana possession arrests in Washington, D.C. have dropped 98% between 2014 and 2015, dropping from 1,840 in 2014 to just 32 in 2015. And of course, that's because now, as of February 26, 2015, at that point, marijuana was legalized in the District of Columbia. You can have, as an adult, up to 2 ounces of marijuana. You can also have up to 6 plants being cultivated in your home. So I wonder about those 32 possession arrests. Were those people who had more than 2 ounces of marijuana in the year 2015, or just the arrests that they had prior to February 26th? I'm not clear on that.
That seems more likely.
This anniversary marks an enormous step forward from WashingtonPost.com, not only for marijuana reform, but also for criminal and racial justice in the district. Marijuana enforcement in the district has historically been racially biased. As recently as 2013, African Americans in the district were 8 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession than white people, comprising a shocking 91% of possession arrests, even though rates of marijuana use and sales are comparable across racial lines, and African Americans comprise roughly half of the district's population. Tens of thousands of district residents, primarily from communities of color, have suffered life-changing consequences from a marijuana arrest. Residents were routinely arrested by police, locked up, and faced subsequent discrimination in employment, housing, and education,
It's
all
really
in the
important.
name of marijuana prohibition.
It's really important to know that there's all kinds of rules about who you can work for after you have a criminal conviction. This affects people across the board. I was just looking at, a job was just brought to my attention. You can't have a bread route in New Hampshire with a felony conviction.
Wow.
This is people who.
What are the requirements for a bread route? Get up early, get to the truck,
drive a truck,
load truck,
right?
Go to locations, unload truck.
The same. You have to go in the store. So the same store that as a felon you can walk into and buy bread,
right?
You cannot as a felon walk into and stack bread. That's
now. Is this a company policy or a
I couldn't
law?
tell you the specifics. It just happened to be something that I was breezing past. I didn't feel like doing the research.
Let's go to your calls. We'll talk more about medical, or rather not medical, but marijuana being legal now in D.C. for a full year. First up, Matt's in Indianapolis listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Matt. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, what's on your mind, Matt?
Well, my experience with basically the legality of cannabis came...
you sound like you have a lot of experience.
Yeah, you have that cannabis experience sound to you.
Actually not, but nearly 30 years ago, let's call it 1987, I was in Tampa, Florida. We're talking way before any reform of decriminalization or legalization here in the country.
Okay.
And one evening, I had a small amount on me, got it behind the wheel. I had been drinking, and 100 feet out of my parking lot, I was pulled over. I wouldn't try to fight the fact that, I should have been. I shouldn't have been behind the wheel. What did I do that night? What did I do that shortly after that? For the next 25 years, I left town, and there was no reciprocating laws back then. I mean, we barely had the internet. I don't suggest this for anybody.
I'm not clear on what you're trying to communicate here.
So is this a DUI?
You got pulled over by the police. You were too drunk to drive. And then you went to some sort of question about what do? You left town. I feel like I'm missing a part of your story.
I failed to appear, basically.
Oh, you skipped town before you went to court. Okay, gotcha.
I do not recommend that to anybody.
No, it's a bad idea. They're going to issue a bench warrant for your arrest, and you're going to end up in custody wherever you are at some point.
Yeah, it's a horrible idea. There were bench warrants for me back then. I came back to Indiana and lived my life basically looking over my shoulder at all the time. I came about in 2009 to make a life choice where I went out to Phoenix, and fast forward, back then it was like fast forward 25 years, I guess.
Yeah,
and,
something like that. Close to it.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, 25 years, you had not yet been caught on the failure to appear warrant?
Correct.
Okay.
Fascinating.
All right, go ahead.
What were you doing for work in Indiana?
Doesn't matter. Let's go on with the story.
Yeah, I was going to school in Phoenix to their wonderful motorcycle institute where you learn to work on Harley Davidsons and stuff. So anyway, I decided to take care of that. So I called the prosecutor down in Florida, and the prosecutor said, "Hey, let's just clear all this up, and for the low price of $2,200, we will
make it all go away.
We will make it all go away. We'll take that DUI and turn it into a reckless driving, and we'll take the marijuana possession, and we'll just make it a misdemeanor citation." So hey, I thought, like, great, this is great. Now let's fast forward. You know, here I am in Indiana.
Yeah, make it fast because we're running out of time.
Yeah. Oh, sure, I will. I believe that when decriminalization finally comes or legalization finally comes, we will be state number 49. Right. We will be
So
right
wait, so you took the deal? You took the $2,000 deal?
Yeah.
And so it's done. So the Florida thing's done. You can close the book on that one.
Oh yeah, I could travel freely through the country again.
Yeah, good deal. Hey, thanks for the call, Matt. I appreciate hearing from you. I'm glad to hear that worked out for you.
What's interesting about that case is it shows the how unnecessary the correctional process is. This guy got caught, and all he needed was the fear that something bad was going to happen to him to straighten out his life. Presumably, he did not get arrested for something like 23 years between this DUI and deciding to pay it off.
But what you're saying is, had he not run, then they probably would have tried to put him in jail at the time.
Right. Well, whatever they would have done to him would have cost him probably that same $2,200 worth of $1987 plus some amount of community service or losing his license and all the other things they did. And it just sort of shows, in his case at the very least, the unnecessary how unnecessary it was to have those particular punishments. Hey, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have punishment generally. It just it differs for each person.
Speaking of people who ran out on criminal charges, former co-host Sam Dodson is coming back to Keene Monday morning, and he's going to be facing down the drinking game arrest from 2010. He'll be taking a plea deal, and maybe if he's not in jail that night, we'll have him on the show to talk about it. We'll continue here. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number. You can join us here on the live Saturday show for Free Talk Live.
Pop quiz for all business owners. If you're not incorporated and someone sues your business, which one of these can you lose? Your home, your car, or your life savings? The answer? All three. Because if you're not incorporated, it's not just your business that can be sued, it's you too, which means you could lose everything. Once business owners realize the risk of not being incorporated, they usually scramble to incorporate or form an LLC. To make it quick and easy, Incorporate.com is now giving away a free incorporation guide to all business owners, so you can incorporate in just 10 minutes. For your free 10-minute incorporation guide, call now, 1-800-915-1027. Protect your financial future. At Incorporate.com, they don't provide legal or financial advice. They just make incorporating or forming an LLC quick and easy. Call now for your free 10-minute incorporation guide. 1-800-915-1027. Hurry while supplies last. 1-800-915-1027. That's 1-800-915-1027.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
You can connect with the Liberty Radio Network via our Facebook page at facebook.lrn.fm. That's facebook.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, launching here into another portion where you can join us toll-free, 855-450-FREE, just like every show. It's always open phones here on Free Talk Live. You can take the conversation whichever way you want to go, although we are talking about D.C.'s marijuana legalization. Happened about a year ago, so they've now crossed the one-year threshold of legalized cannabis for adults in Washington, D.C. District voters legalized marijuana overwhelmingly back in February of 2015. It became legal for adults to have up to 2 ounces of marijuana, as well as cultivate up to 6 plants in their home. Marijuana possession arrests have dropped dramatically by 98%, down from 1,840 per year in, I think, 2014 to 32 in 2015. A huge savings on police resources, allowing police to actually focus on crimes that might actually have a victim. But you're welcome to share your thoughts in general on the war on drugs or whatever happens to be on your mind. Let's go first to Chris in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Chris.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's on your mind tonight?
Really kind of on the lines of the drugs. I had gotten stopped not even too long ago. Recently went through a court process and did my time, but had a needle. Now, no drugs. It was a syringe. It never even did anything that would require a syringe. Why it was in there, I couldn't tell you. But
so there was a clean syringe in your car?
Clean syringe.
Okay.
No drug residue, no nothing like that, no paraphernalia on the side of just that syringe. I got charged with a level 6 felony.
Whoa.
And they wouldn't drop it down, so it was unlawful possession of a syringe. And actually did 6 months in community corrections doing work release, as well as 9 house arrests just for the possession of the syringe.
Now, so where was the syringe in your car if you didn't even know it was there?
It was actually on the floor in the passenger seat, so I'm assuming it came from somebody that was riding with me and fell out of a purse or a pocket or something.
So they would have had to have proven that you knowingly possessed the syringe, usually for a possession charge to stick, right?
Well, because it was in my car, and, I was the only one in the car. I mean, I tried to fight it with a pauper attorney. Of course, didn't have the thousands of dollars to pay a actual attorney, but my pauper attorney didn't want to do.
When you say proper attorney, is that like another term? Are you saying
proper or pauper?
Pauper.
Okay.
So meaning you had a public defender?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, he even straight up told me I'm too busy to even really deal with this.
Yeah.
So did you end up taking a plea deal?
Well, I mean, that was the best plea deal I could get with that
a felony.
6 months release and 9 months of house arrest for.
But you ended up with a felony.
Yeah, it was a felony.
That's a crappy plea deal.
It sounds like a crappy plea deal, but we don't know the state, and each state's different.
I think it was Indianapolis or Indiana, right?
He said it was Michigan.
Yeah, out there in Carmel.
Okay.
In Hamilton County.
Yeah, I mean, different states are different, Ian. It sounds like a crappy deal here in New Hampshire, but you never know. I
think it's a crappy deal if you get charged with a felony and you take a plea and you end up with a felony.
I'm with you.
Crappy.
I hear you. It is, it's a miscarriage of justice. And the sad thing is that the vast majority, far less than 1% of cases, end up going to trial because we don't have a judicial system. We have a legal system that just runs people through. The idea is to get everybody churned through. They don't want you to have a day in court. The last thing they want, they'll punish you for trying to take one.
That's generally true. And Chris, thanks for calling to share that story. It's crazy. I appreciate it. Appreciate hearing from you tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. With this case, though, I think what it's important that people know about the plea deal process is that, yes, you can be punished for not going through with the plea deal, but ultimately, if you want a chance of beating that felony, it's the only way it's going to happen. So if you did not, we didn't ask Chris if he was already a felon. Maybe he already was, and so what's one more felony? But generally, if you don't have a felony, it behooves you to probably not want to get one because, as you pointed out, Mark, it's harder to get certain jobs. It's harder to get a lot of jobs, and life is much
Traveling
more
to Canada gets difficult. Yeah. Owning a gun, voting can be a problem. There's a whole variety of things that get more difficult when you're a felon, and I do think that was a crappy deal. And this is just kind of the system. This is what we've got left. This is what a dying judicial system looks like. It ravenously and rapaciously is going after anybody it can find. Now, they should have had to prove that he knowingly possessed that needle.
In order to prove that, they would have had to have gone to trial.
But this isn't the court system from decades ago when they had to prove something. CSI and all these other things where they're taking these things to court, far less than 1% of arrests end up in trial.
No doubt. And I'm sure, and again, just because they have to knowingly prove something doesn't mean anything. I learned this in my trial where I was convicted for so-called unsworn falsification, which basically is not quite perjury, but the next level below that. It's basically the misdemeanor version of perjury where you tell a falsehood when you're not under oath. That is basically what unsworn falsification is. And I didn't lie. I didn't tell a falsehood.
You were just changing your name and got your driver's license, and paperwork was put in the wrong order. That's all.
But according to the judge, I did knowingly do, the things that I was supposed to do to get convicted, even though I said that I didn't. And so it's really ultimately up to what the judge thinks about whether it was knowingly or not. So
or the jury.
Well, in my case, it wasn't a jury trial, but in his case, it probably wouldn't have been either. Although if it was a felony, it would have been. But either way, all the state would have to argue is, well, it was on the floorboards of the passenger side. How could he not know? How could he not know there was a syringe on the floorboard of the passenger seat? He's sitting right there. How could he not see it?
Weird things happen.
That kind of thing. And so if they were to convince the jury of that, then he probably would have ended up getting convicted anyway. But it is at least a chance. And if you don't go to trial, you'll never get the chance, and you'll never get the better offer on the plea deal. So the public defender or the pauper attorney or whatever you call them, these public defenders, their interest is to just get you to plea. They don't want to actually have to put in any kind of motion.
He doesn't have to do any time in the defender doesn't have to do any time in jail.
Right. He's going to get paid the same amount whether or not you take the plea or you go to trial. So he wants you to go ahead and just take that plea. Whereas if you were to not take the plea and then wait and see if they offer you a better plea later on, at the very least, the second plea is almost always better than the first plea offer. So you might have ended up being able to get a misdemeanor plea down rather than just a plea to a felony had you waited it out. But there are no guarantees in life, so I understand why someone just goes ahead and takes whatever offers on the table just to make it go away. At least that's the way it feels at the time, though. Of course, if you turns out that you're just an easy mark and you're going to take a plea, then they know they can come at you again with more charges in the future, and that they can switch you out that way too for more.
Everybody's an easy mark, though, Ian. I mean, more than 99% of cases are either
need to
dismissed
stop being so damn
or pled
easy.
to.
People need to start standing up for themselves if they want to have a chance at some more freedom in their lives.
Well, your suggestion, though, that the police or law enforcement agencies or prosecutor's office or whatever might find you an easy mark is fallacious if everybody's an easy mark.
Well, you don't want to be one of those everybody's, though. That's the thing. You want to be someone who they know is going to take a charge to trial. That way they'll have second thoughts. Let's go to Billy. He's in Indiana listening to WIBC. Hey, Billy.
Hey, how are you doing tonight?
Great. Go ahead, sir.
Hey, couple things real quick. The 32 that was arrested in 2015, I think one of the things to point out there is
in DC.
Dealing is still illegal. Yeah, it's still illegal to deal in D.C.
That's true. And it's also illegal to possess more than 2 ounces. So it's possible that those people had more than 2 ounces.
And it is also still illegal to smoke it in public.
Yep, that's true as well.
There's a clause there that you have to smoke it in your home or in a residence.
I think you'd be charged, though, with a public consumption of marijuana charge rather than a possession charge. Because, again, it's legal to possess less than 2 ounces. So if I have an ounce of marijuana on me and am smoking it publicly, they would likely ticket me for some sort of public consumption rather than ticket me for possession because it's still legal to possess it. It's just not legal to smoke it in public.
Right. Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, I've lived out in D.C. for 3 years. I've worked out there for the last 4 years. We make it legal to be able to possess marijuana or use marijuana. But as far as employers go, as far as, public housing, it's still illegal in their eyes.
Well, I think employers should be able to set whatever rules they want to. And, Billy, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. If it's your business and you don't want people smoking pot, then you have the ability to make that decision as the business owner.
Insurance companies might.
Free Talk Live.
Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom in the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com. There comes a time when you need custom embroidered or screen printed apparel for your business, organization, or a special event. Corporate Casuals has been helping people create great looking logoed apparel for over 25 years. They can produce a single piece or thousands using name brand apparel like Nike, Patagonia, Adidas, and Hanes. Create your logo in their online embroidery design studio or upload your existing logo and they'll turn it into embroidery. Go to corporatecasuals.com/FTL and include FTL in the order notes and save 5% on your order.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the Gulf Coast in Biloxi, Mississippi, this is Darrell W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, February 27th, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.70 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,223 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $435. Antiwar.com reports a last-minute flurry of endorsements for the U.S.-Russia ceasefire plan meant nearly 100 rebel factions were on board, and even though most of them expressed doubts that the deal would hold, that's a huge number to get behind a scheme to end the Syrian civil war. The real success happened at midnight local time, however, when the ceasefire went into effect and the fighting simply stopped across the vast majority of the country. Though there were isolated reports of gunfire and explosions, there are as of yet no confirmations of any serious fighting. Fighting had been escalating in the weeks leading up to the halt, and indeed the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported 40 Syrian troops and 18 rebels killed on Friday in the hours leading up to the ceasefire. There have not been any reports of deaths since. UN Syrian envoy Stefan de Mistura said he wants to hold a new round of peace talks on March 7th, assuming the ceasefire largely holds over the next week and a half. While there's a lot of pessimism about that still, they are certainly off to a good start.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports officials at the University of California, Berkeley said on Friday that they were alerting 80,000 people, including current and former students, faculty, and vendors, of a cyber attack on a system that stores Social Security and bank account numbers. The news comes just more than a week after a Southern California hospital paid hackers $17,000 in Bitcoin to regain control of their computer system after a so-called ransomware attack. The San Francisco Bay Area University said there was no evidence that attackers actually took any personal information, but it was still alerting the 80,000 individuals to be on the lookout for misuse of their information. The school said a hacker or hackers gained access to its financial management software in late December due to a security flaw present when the system was updated. Officials have notified law enforcement, including the FBI, and hired a private computer investigation company. The university said among the potentially affected are 57,000 current and former students, about 18,800 former and current employees, and 10,300 vendors who work with the school. Those figures come out to about half of the school's current students and two-thirds of its active employees. Large, high-profile organizations and businesses routinely come under cyber attack, and the school said it frequently identifies similar hacking attempts. Paul Rivers, UC Berkeley's Chief Information Security Officer, said in a statement, "The security and privacy of the personal information provided to the university is of great importance to us. We regret that this occurred and have taken additional measures to better safeguard the information." The school said it was providing free of charge credit protection services to those potentially affected.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports a New York judge ordered 20-year-old Layla Aquino to be held on $10,000 bond after her 2-year-old daughter, left home alone, died in an apartment fire. Aquino entered no plea on Thursday to charges of reckless endangerment and endangering the welfare of a child. She was accused of leaving her daughter, Kalina Muldrow, alone in a Brooklyn apartment which caught fire. Police said Aquino was supposed to go to her job at a strip club, but instead went out dancing with a friend. Aquino initially told investigators she left her daughter with a babysitter, but later said she left her home alone. Firefighters were unaware that anyone was in the building when the fire started at 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. The cause of the blaze is under investigation. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
A report on obesity rates released this week by the CDC confirmed that millions of courageous Americans continue to overcome the media's persistent pressure to be thin. Researchers told reporters that while the vast majority of film and television continues to portray thin, in-shape people, over 30% of Americans remain resolved in their effort to stand up to idealized images of men and women.
Every day, people are inundated with unvarying images of slim men and women, but millions of heroic Americans continue doing their best every day to maintain BMIs 35 or higher. These people aren't afraid to fly in the face popular culture deems acceptable and bravely eat and drink whatever they want, whenever they want.
In other news, the nation's single men announce a plan to change their bed sheets by 2019. A woman who left the room crying earlier expects to jump back into the party just like that. And a courtroom artist is clearly infatuated with the bailiff. This 2.5-minute-long session of immersion therapy is finally complete. Your crippling fear of watching video news recaps should no longer be a problem. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the live Saturday edition of the program. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Some have been commenting on the war on drugs, specifically the war on cannabis, which is no longer continuing in Washington, D.C. And I mean in Washington, D.C., specifically, the D.C. people voted in 2015, or maybe it was late 2014 and it went into effect in 2015. But anyway, about a year ago, D.C. legalized cannabis. And so the Washington Post is sort of looking back and seeing what has changed since now it is legal for adults to have up to 2 ounces of marijuana, as well as cultivating up to 6 plants at a time in their home. You can comment here as well, or bring up whatever's on your mind. The South Carolinian primary also going on tonight for the Democrats, where Hillary Clinton is apparently
running away with it,
cleaning the floor up with Bernie Sanders with, what is it, about 24% reporting, 76% going for Clinton out of that.
Yeah.
So we'll keep our eyes on that. You're welcome to comment on anything here. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Ian and Mark in the studio. Let's go to the phones, to the fun. Jack listening in Myrtle Beach to WRNN. Hello, Jack.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Hey, I just wanted to talk about basically how cannabis, I know it's made out, it's kind of always known as being sort of one of those drugs that don't really, it just makes people spin their wheels. However, my personal experience with it as an experience.
Hello? We just lost you after you said something about my personal experience, and then your cell phone cut out there. So try again.
All right. So basically, personal experience with marijuana has been extremely positive.
I'm thinking he was saying it was extremely positive. I'll tell you what, Jack, hang on. We're going to try to come back to you here, maybe get you in a better cell. Meanwhile, let's bring Becky on in Indianapolis, listening to WIBC FM. Hello, Becky. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, guys. I've been enjoying your conversation regarding the legalization of marijuana.
Thanks.
My only thing about this is the problem seems to be that even though they legalize it, you cannot really, it's hard to find a job that doesn't do drug testing in order to be, employed there.
Mm-hmm.
So even though it is somewhat of a victimless crime, so to speak, whether it's legal or not, you're still not going to be able to enjoy it because of fear of testing at work. And
well, millions of people have managed to pull this off, right? I mean, even though the drug is illegal in most places in the United States, there are millions of people who illegally use the drug and hold down a job. So,
I mean, if they urinalyzed every pizza delivery driver, no one would ever get pizza.
That's true. So, I mean,
exactly.
I get where you're coming from, that it is hard to get a job if you are a marijuana user, but usually once you have the job, unless you're subject to random testing, which I don't know what percentage of jobs have that, but I don't think it's that many of them. Otherwise, many, many people would be, caught because they're using marijuana regularly. So it can be a challenge for a marijuana user to get their initial job because they have to stop using marijuana, at least for the time frame at which they are applying for those jobs. But I don't think most jobs are regularly testing their employees because there's a cost involved in that. And so that's why what you generally want to do is if you are running a company, you can have a no drugs policy and then only test people once they've done something that could could possibly, have the situation changed by the fact that you were using cannabis. Meaning that if your insurance company will require that somebody not be using cannabis in order to pay out, then you would want to test that person to make sure that they weren't using cannabis in order to get the payout.
Right.
But otherwise, there's not really an incentive to be harassing your employees with constant drug tests. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. The sad thing is that a lot of people, just in a couple jobs that I've had, will come in on much stronger drugs. For instance, like Xanax seems to be a problem. And, I know heroin is really on the rise in Indiana. And I've seen people come in stoned out of their minds. But guess what? They don't really test for that.
Right. It doesn't show up. It's legal. Right? So it's not.
Yeah.
You can have a doctor tell you that you need to be on Xanax, and so even if it showed in the test, it wouldn't, be okay.
They gave me a Xanax for an operation one time. I mean, I had to be directed in which direction to walk. I can't imagine how anybody gets around.
Now, Xanax,
there's different doses, though.
Right. Xanax is an antidepressant, correct? So what is it? What is it that it does to one who takes it?
I don't think it's an antidepressant. I think it's
okay. I don't know. What is it, Becky? Do you
I think if somebody abuses it, takes more than, say, the recommended dosage, or maybe doesn't realize how it reacts. I mean, I've seen people standing and falling asleep.
Wow.
weaving, wobbling, falling asleep on their feet. And I'm thinking, really? But they can't get rid of those people?
Becky, thanks for your call. I appreciate the perspective tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Alprazolam is the trade name, or the Xanax is the trade name for alprazolam, which is a short-acting anxiolytic of the benzodiazepine class. It's for panic disorders and anxiety disorders, generalized anxiety disorder, or social anxiety disorder. So not an antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication. What do people use it for as far as getting high is concerned? I don't know.
Well, people they'll huff gasoline, for God's sake. You can't stop them from getting high.
There is a risk of misuse, according to Wikipedia.
Really? Somebody could misuse Xanax?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Go
look
figure.
and see what the use for it is. Well, anyway, if you want to learn more about well, that can mean different things, right? Like there's uppers, there's downers, there's psychedelics.
It's for getting high.
Toll-free
I
number
can't
here.
imagine. The one time I took it, I was so far out of it. The whole idea of taking that thing that for recreation just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I had an operation, and they were able to cut on me, and I had no clue.
Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Alprazolam is often used with other recreational drugs. These uses include aids to relieve the panic or distress or dysphoric, a bad trip reaction to psychedelic drugs such as LSD, and the drug-induced agitation and insomnia in the come-down stages of stimulant use such as amphetamine, cocaine, elsewhere. Alprazolam may also be used in conjunction with other depressant drugs such as ethanol, heroin, or other opioids in an attempt to enhance the psychological effect of those drugs, and may be used with cannabis, with users citing a synergistic effect achieved after consuming the combination. So it sounds like more people are using alprazolam.
Synergy would be like a coma.
Sounds like more people are using it as an addition to other drugs rather than just simply dosing on that, but I imagine people do the latter as well. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Go to John in Washington State. John, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
I'm of the belief that the recreational, or people who are charging for recreational marijuana use or marijuana possession to be legalized in the United States is actually hindering the legalization process of the medicinal side of things. To say, I'm in Washington, so I can smoke it, and recreational medically. So that's the addendum there. My daughter is actually on it for seizures, and it works tremendously. But what gets to me is that there's already this stigma on myself and my ex that we just want to get our kid high. We just want to do all this stuff. And with the recreational side, that's all they want to do. They just want to get high. And it's two separate types of compounds within that plant that we're looking at, you and the recreational and the medical are looking for. And so when you got all these people talking about, I just want to get high, it hinders that. And I got family who are in Ohio, it's illegal. I got family in North Carolina, it's illegal. And it would have such a tremendous amount of use for the quality of life of their children, you know.
Well, more than half the states have medical marijuana of some sort at this point. I'm not going to say the problem solved by any stretch of the imagination, but, you know, the Republicans, the red states are always this way.
Hey, John, if you want to hang on, I'd like to continue to discuss the discrepancy between medical and recreational use of cannabis and the frustrations you have. It's Free Talk Live.
February is National Heart Month, and chances are you have a cardiovascular issue like I do. I help maintain my healthy heart by drinking Super Beets. It's a superfood powder that I mix with water, but you can mix it with yogurt or put it in a smoothie, whatever you want. Not only does it help boost my circulation and support my healthy blood pressure naturally, but I feel the energy and stamina boost in about 20 minutes, which no other superfood formula guarantees. All the beets from Super Beets come from one non-GMO farm in California, so they can keep a close eye on the production of the dietary nitrates. I want you to try this product for National Heart Month. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay, guaranteed. Get a 30-day supply free with your first order. You also get nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see it's working. Plus, get the free book, Beat the Odds. And all of this comes with free shipping. Call 800-951-8940 or visit FTLBeats.com. I believe in Super Beets. 800-951-8940, FTLBeats.com.
Sciatica, lower back pain, hip pain, poor posture. If you suffer from any of these problems, get ready to relax. Introducing an amazing product that's been in the market for over 25 years, the Sacro Wedgie. It was invented by a football coach using a common-sense osteopath technique. He created this device to help his athletes by isolating and supporting the sacrum, which is the keystone of our anatomy. This wedge-shaped bone is in the center of our hips, where a lot of pain starts. Simply relax 20 minutes daily on the amazingly simple Sacro Wedgie and let gravity do the work, helping muscles rebalance and start releasing nerves. Sit in the Sacro Wedgie at the computer or while traveling to help correct posture to finally help relieve those stubborn aches and pains for only $33.95. It's made in the USA, so click the family-owned website at sacrowedgie.com, spelled SACROWEDGY.com, or call 1-800-737-9295. That's 1-800-737-9295. Relax your back pain away with the Sacro Wedgie.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Why are you playing a slot machine sound for an online poker site?
Do you have a poker sound effect? Because we have a new advertiser, swcpoker.eu.
Brought to you by the same guys that did seals with clubs.
Now they're called swcpoker.eu. It's Bitcoin Poker 2.0. They have lots of new games, including Chinese poker. The Krill leaderboard is active now. It's Bitcoin Poker from the brand you trust, swcpoker.eu.
Get on over to swcpoker.eu and start playing now.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can join us here. Toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. The internet was meant to be used anonymously, if you want, and without oversight. But many governments and companies are thriving from the lack of privacy that you have on the internet today. ProXPN can give you that privacy back. It's a virtual private network that encrypts your data from your computer or mobile device, and ProXPN offers OpenVPN, the gold standard of network encryption, with apps for Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and there's Linux support as well. So head on over to proxpn.com, use code FTL50, and you'll get 50% off the price of the regular monthly price for the lifetime of your annual account when you use code FTL50, and you can pay with credit card or Bitcoin over at proxpn.com. If you're a Windows user, you can ask ProXPN about changing your DNS settings for even greater anonymity. Use code FTL50 and take back the privacy that is your right at proxpn.com. As we continue here, I believe John is with us listening in Washington State. John, you are back on Free Talk Live.
Very cool. I just I believe that if we can utilize or use or somehow capitalize on the treatment of medicinal marijuana for children and for people who have medical reasons to use it, and destigmatize it with the populace that way. In Washington, I saw it. It was decriminalized medically, and then it became decriminalized recreationally. And it was a lot easier to do that two-step type process. I think if the recreational side had spoken out and done that, it would have been a lot more difficult to get to even the medicinal side legal.
Sure.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that it's you could see that it could have been much more difficult to have recreational legalized before medical.
Right.
But
we
of
haven't
course,
seen that happen in the United States.
If that were to happen, it would mean that you wouldn't need medical, because then it would just be legal across the board, and you wouldn't need the different categories or whatever. But yeah, it does.
But you're not going to destigmatize it with the Christian right who thinks that people just want to get stoned. You're not. Well, if you show them a child, if you go into a church and show them a child and say, this little plant just helped this child not have 80 seizures a day, look at her standing up in front of you. They look at that and they say, well, maybe weed's not so bad, and you take it at a different approach. But if you go up in front of to a pulpit and say, look, man, I got this bong and I want to, blaze up, right? Mm-hmm. Then you're not going to come across to them.
No, I understand where you're coming from.
Well, there was a time in U.S. history when alcohol was illegal. They had these temperance leagues that led up to it, with the lips that touch alcohol shall never touch mine. These old bats.
Ugly women.
Right. Cigarettes and whiskey and wild, wild women. They'll drive you crazy. They'll drive you insane. I mean, they had a whole thing with carts and bands. We're going to make this stuff illegal. And then, over time they saw the problems with prohibition of alcohol and what led up to that and that sort of thing. But today you don't see, if you give your kid a tincture, with some mixture that includes alcohol for medicinal purposes, I've never heard anybody say anything about that. I'd say time's going to heal this wound and not much else will.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. John, thanks for the call tonight. I do understand where you're coming from, though, and I can get that. If that's your primary mission, is to see this thing be legal for medical purposes, I could definitely see how it would be frustrating to have the stoners out there wanting it to be legal for recreational purposes. But you can't control others, so you might as well just not fret about it. You better just come up with the best answers to the objections you can, because if you're going to get those objections from the people you're pitching to, the Christian right or whoever, then you better be prepared to answer those objections in a way that's going to satisfy people, because the recreational legalizers aren't going away. They're not going to step away and step aside just because some people, it would be easier for them to pitch medical. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, and times do change. Things are going to change over time. I often tell this story, and it's really great to show exactly what does the word conservative mean, because usually conservative harkens back to a time that was better or whatever. But in my family, there was a story of my grandma Pauline catching my two great uncles, her children, with a deck of cards that they had been playing with. And she went out in the yard, got a stick, and beat the hell out of them for having a deck of cards. Because, I mean, she's mortally afraid of their souls being damned to hell,
is
right?
Gambling supposed to be...
Whatever. This is what it was like 100 years ago.
Satanic?
Well, at the time, a deck of cards or some dice
The
indicated,
devil's tools.
right? These kids they're not going to grow up to be anything good.
Yeah.
It's going to be alcohol and gambling for these kids. And she beat the hell out of these boys,
That's
young
what
men,
Jesus would want
for this. So don't go around calling yourself a conservative if you're not willing to beat your kids with a big stick over a deck of cards. I mean, that's what a conservative is.
Let's go to Robert calling from New Jersey, listening to WPG. Hello, Robert. Hello, Robert in New Jersey, going once. Robert in New Jersey, going twice. I'm going to put Robert. Whoa. He was there for a moment. We're going to try to get him back. Robert, are you still with us?
I'm here.
All right, you're on the radio.
Hello.
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah. How much is an ounce of marijuana in Washington?
That's a darn good question. I think it depends on whether you buy it through the recreational sales market or the medical sales market. There, I believe, are two different pricing tiers. So you're listening on the radio, and that's going to be super confusing to you because you need to listen on the phone. So if you're not listening on the phone, we got to let you go.
I heard a couple of days ago on the radio that Washington State, I think I heard an ounce went for $10. Is that right?
I don't believe that. That sounds...
At priceofweed.com.
Yes.
Yeah,
for Washington State, an ounce of high-quality marijuana is $232.58. Medium quality is $188, and low quality, I feel bad for you people that have to buy this.
You can't find that. You can't find low-quality weed in Washington State. Hey, thanks for the call, Robert. I appreciate it. I'd be surprised if you can even find mids. I mean, because usually the states where you go legal, where it's medical and or recreational,
everybody wants the high.
The market gets flooded with good quality product, and why would somebody want to buy mid grades at that point? I mean, if the price of the best quality has gone down to where it's not quite mid grade pricing structures, but it's getting closer, why would you want to buy the cheaper stuff?
Well, apparently in this case, to save $50.
Maybe. Yeah, I would be I'm interested, not enough to actually take a trip to Washington, but I would be curious if I were ever in Washington for another reason. I certainly would go and visit these stores just to see what it's like. What are the layouts like of these stores?
Shows how far back I am in this, but I remember when an ounce was a quarter ounce was $25.
Yeah.
And so an ounce would have been 80 or something like that. So this pricing is well above what I'm familiar with.
You were probably talking about dirt weed, though.
This is high school. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. You probably weren't getting the best quality weed back in high school.
I don't think I knew what the best quality weed was like.
Right. So, don't compare apples to oranges, or in this case, you don't even know what you're comparing. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. Now, does the price of weed have black market prices as well as legal prices? Does it show states where it's not legal? Just curious.
Maybe.
It's Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Removing bad taste and odor from your drinking water is easy. Removing the bad stuff you don't taste is what ProPure does best. Water the way nature meant it to be. Clean, crisp, and refreshing. See the complete line of ProPure countertop, inline, gravity, and household water filtration products. Visit your authorized ProPure dealer or ProPureUSA.com. That's ProPureUSA.com or call 800-544-3533.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Cryptocurrency and peer-to-peer tech developments happen fast. Stay in the loop with the Daily Decrypt, a new video channel and podcast that will keep you on top of the latest innovations in crypto finance, security, networking, transportation, and gadgetry like drones and 3D printers. Subscribe to the Daily Decrypt on YouTube and SoundCloud and be an early adopter of the future. The Daily Decrypt.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio waves. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And new stations are joining us on the radio waves. Welcome to our newest affiliate in Illinois, Bloomington-Champaign, Illinois, as a matter of fact, where WWHP 98.3 is on board now with us for our Saturday night show.
Sweet.
So hello, you guys, if you're listening in Bloomington-Champaign, You are hearing the show a little bit later. They delay broadcast, as they call that in the business, where they're actually picking up our live show, which airs from 7 to 10 at night Eastern, and then delay broadcasting it a couple hours there. So if you're not hearing us between 7 and 10 at night Eastern time, you're not listening live. But that doesn't mean that you can't participate. You just have to remember to call in when we are live, and then you can talk about whatever you want with us on the air, and then later on you can hear yourself on the radio when it plays back in your town. So welcome aboard to everybody there in Bloomington-Champaign listening to WWHP. As we go back to the phones and to the fun, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. A lot of people with comments on the war on marijuana. Let's go to Dave listening in Indianapolis to WIBC-FM. Hello, Dave.
Hello, hippies.
Hello,
you gotta
Dave.
love this show. This is you guys' favorite subject, I know.
I do love this subject. It's true.
I don't smoke weed, Dave.
I don't know. Maybe
I don't smoke it either.
I'm not gonna call you a liar. But look, I got the answer, and I don't care. I don't want to argue about whether or not pot is as good, better for you than carrots, or if it truly is the most vile thing on the face of the earth. I'm not even going there. I have the answer. And the answer is federalism.
What was the question?
The question is, what do we do about pot?
Okay.
The answer is you let each state decide what it wants to do with pot. I live in Indiana. I like Indiana because Indiana is gun friendly and Indiana is pretty hard on the pothead. Now, if I go out to Washington, I'm not going to raise hell because the laws are different. I'm just not going to live in Washington. So I think federalism, the legal process, the legal concept of federalism takes a lot of the venom out of the argument. And people don't have to, it takes a lot of the, the vitriol out of the argument. We don't have to bludgeon each other with our opinions. We can simply find the states we like, go there, and everybody gets along, quiet and happy.
Well, I don't know if they're going to be quiet. I like the idea.
Well,
I'm with you. I'm with you this far,
Yeah.
Dave. I'm with you. But do you understand that the reason that you're proposing this is that it's hard to force a certain amount of people to get along, with what you want them to get, with what we want them to get along with, right? So the pot people, the anti-pot people can't force the pot people to live the way they want them to live any longer on a national level. So now we retreat to the states. And I say, why would you want to force somebody at a state level either?
Well, why would you? No, because it's designed that way. We have, one of the founding fathers called it 50 different laboratories, and I wholly believe in that. Because, again, I'm a pro-lifer, and I like Indiana, again, because Indiana, we love people. We love our greatest natural resource. But I'm probably not going to go out to California and live because it's a no-win. That's not a hill I want to die on. California is never going to be pro-life, but there's no reason that California should dictate to Indiana about abortion or about pot or
No, dude,
about
I totally
anything
agree
else.
with you. I think that there should be
yeah.
the different states should have different, they should try different things. But along the line of trying things,
Trying means
I think you can
figuring out when things fail, too.
Right. I think you can see that the war on drugs has failed. And so if Indiana insists on continuing a failed program, which is the war on drugs, or specifically the war on marijuana, is more of what we've been covering tonight, you're going to continue to see failure there. So you can't say on one hand that you love people and then on the other hand say you want to throw those people in a prison cell.
You absolutely can, because what you're saying is you love people and you love to see their self-preservation. It's like allowing people who are alcoholics into church, but not allowing them to have a cold beer while they're sitting there listening to the sermon.
Well, that's not the same thing. It's not the same at all.
No, it absolutely is.
No, because church is a voluntary place. It's a place where people go based on consent. You put someone in a jail cell, it is not a loving thing to do towards someone. It's not helping them with anything.
You have a median of accepted civility in any given locale or state, and in Indiana.
Right. It is not a civil act to take someone's freedom away from them and put them in a prison cell.
Listen, they don't have the freedom to sit next to somebody who does not smoke pot, light up, and give them a contact buzz. You have common courtesy, which plays.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who is going to sit down next to someone who does not specifically consent to smelling cannabis and blow it in their face. I mean, that's what the prohibitionists have to come to is, well, I just don't want you blowing it in my face. Well, how often does that actually happen?
Or driving or operating any kind of machinery that's on a public road. Let me ask you this.
But how often does it actually happen that someone blows marijuana smoke in your face, sir?
Well, I don't want to be around it, period. And enough people in Indiana agree with me to where the people that want to smoke marijuana can always go to a state like Washington or California, and we're all happy as a 50-state family. Let me ask you this.
Just don't tell me you care about people.
Quick question.
I just don't want to hear you say you care about people at the same time as you want to put them in a prison cell.
I love people, and
then you should allow them to make mistakes. You should allow them to. Yeah, if you love people.
I also don't allow them to play in the interstate either. Okay. Here, let me ask you this question.
To play in the interstate.
Can you find anywhere in the Constitution? Where Congress has purview over marijuana?
Nowhere. I think it's treason, the coining of money, declaring of war, a few other things.
Can you find any place in the Indiana Constitution where the government has purview over marijuana?
Well, we're talking about the Constitution. We're talking about federal power.
No, I'm asking you about the Indiana Constitution. We already agree with you on the idea of federalism, okay? So we're already there. We're on the same page with that.
Well, I disagree with you on this, Ian.
What is the Indiana Constitution?
I'll tell you what
you don't know what the Indiana Constitution says.
I know what it doesn't say. It doesn't say that its power is limited. You see, the federal Constitution is clear. Hold on just a second, Dave. The federal Constitution is clear in the 9th and 10th Amendments that the powers not given to the federal government are remanded to the state and the people respectively. However, the no state constitution that I know of says we're just not going to make laws that have to do with the such and such of so-and-so. Because why would the state legislators do that to themselves?
Because marijuana is an issue closest to the people, therefore it is left to each state.
Well, let's leave it to the counties, though. Let's even go lower. Let's go to the cities instead of the counties, or the people instead of the cities.
Well, apparently the cities can decide whether or not they're going to have special protections for the LGBTXYZ crowd because they're doing it here in Indiana.
They do that in a lot of cities.
I live in Indianapolis. Indianapolis has adopted that policy. I'm not happy with it, but I'm not willing to move. But my point is, when you get federal power out of the equation, okay, everybody can breathe a sigh of relief because now you have choice. Now you have options. If you bludgeon everybody with federal power and declare that marijuana, oh, look at that, the 14th Amendment covers marijuana too, then you have resentment. You have a built-up resentment. You erase state
Dave,
borders.
I'm looking here at the Indiana General Assembly, their website for Article 1, the Bill of Rights in the Indiana Constitution as amended in 2010, says that we declare that all people are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So,
and the right to tree?
So, Wari, what you're saying is that you don't believe in the right of the right to pursuit of happiness. Excuse me. What you're saying is you don't believe in the right to pursuit of happiness.
I don't believe on the right to infringing on somebody else's proprietary happiness. Okay.
Well, yeah, you do. You just said you wanted to put people in jail because of marijuana.
Use marijuana while they're driving?
No.
When they're in a public place?
No.
Do you want to let them smoke pot in their house? Do you want to let people in Indiana smoke pot in their house?
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Okay, but can I smoke pot on my front porch?
Oh, God.
I don't know. But it's outside.
See, that's the thing.
Someone might smell
the man's going to give it to you in your house.
Thanks for the call,
God's
Dave.
sakes,
I can already smoke pot in my house.
He's wrong, Dave.
Thanks for the call, Dave. I can already. If I were in Indiana, I would already be able to smoke pot in my house. 855-450 free. So long as the police don't know about it, then it's not illegal. 855-450-3733. Not if you don't get caught. It's not illegal.
It's not enforced.
It's Free Talk Live. You can share your thoughts.
Think you're fat? You might just be bloated. Find out by calling now for a free trial of New Biotics, the new breakthrough that flattens bloated bellies fast. For a free trial, call 1-800-965-1170.
I used to be plagued by pot belly and constant bloating. After taking New Biotics, my belly flattened and continues to get flatter. My sense of bloating and discomfort is gone.
If you've got a big belly, you might not be fat. You might just be bloated. New Biotics is scientifically formulated with natural ingredients to flatten bloated bellies fast by cleansing pounds of rotting food and toxic sludge from your body. It even combats periodic heartburn and acid reflux. So just think how much better you'll look and feel. Think you might be bloated? Call now for a free trial of New Biotics and see how much flatter it makes your belly. You might be surprised, but hurry, call now for details while these free trials last. 1-800-965-1170. That's 1-800-965-1170. 1-800-965-1170.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $7.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Talk Live.
What is your goal? What do you want of this revolution that you speak of?
You got to stir things up enough so the people will actually revolt in a big way.
And what will that result in?
Millions of people in the streets, you know, and the military guys ain't going to like it.
So what is your goal? You don't really know, do you? You don't really know what you want besides chaos.
A bloody revolution in the streets is
You
the
want
only
a bloody
way.
revolution? This is why I don't want to associate with people like you. Thank you for the call. You're dangerous and crazy, in my opinion, if you're talking about bloody revolution. Violent revolution just results in more violence in the future because the people who were the most violent are the ones that rise to power in whatever new power structure is created after the revolution's all over and done with, after the blood has spilt. Whoopee-doo, you've changed out one gang of criminals for another gang of thugs.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phone, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Friday, gold is down $8 at $1,226 per ounce. Silver is 25 cents lower at $14.95 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $424 US. It's the end of the week and we're seeing a slight sell-off in gold and silver. To take advantage of this, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Every dollar. Today it's
It's Free Talk Live and the live Saturday edition of the program. You can join us here on the radio waves. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And don't forget, you can join us online. Just go to freetalklive.com. You like the show? You want to help support Free Talk Live? Then become a Free Talk Live amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's $5 a month, and that allows you special access to a few different things like the AMP Only podcast, the AMP Only Facebook group, the AMP Only call-in lines, and more. You get signed up for $5 a month using any major credit card through PayPal or Visa or MasterCard right there on the front page of the website, or not front page, but right there on our website. And also now Bitcoin. So if you've been waiting on Bitcoin, don't wait any longer. You can now amp the show with Bitcoin and help Free Talk Live get on more radio stations. We actually added 7 new stations tonight here on the air, so welcome aboard to all of our new stations in Idaho as well as Illinois. You can see our full affiliate list over at affiliates.freetalklive.com, now with over 170 talk radio stations. And I believe, Mark, that may be a new record for us, maybe?
Yep, that's the highest number we've had, 171.
So yeah, it's thanks to the Free Talk Live amplifiers who are making this possible for $5 a month. go to amp.freetalklive.com, ampamp.freetalklive.com. We continue with your calls and your thoughts. Gil is in Myrtle Beach listening to WRNN. Hey, Gil.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, Gil. We're great. Go ahead with your thoughts tonight.
So my problem with the current legal state of marijuana right now is just there's such a hypocrisy between, if you look at alcohol and the societal causes it has, how many people die a year, drunk driving, and, all these people that want to keep marijuana legal, they don't ever bring that point up, that we have alcohol, we have cigarettes that kill plenty of people, and it's just a double standard.
Well,
I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, we had a drug prohibitionist guy on the show. It's some months ago, might even be a year at this point, and his defense of that was, well, if we were right now deciding whether or not to make alcohol legal, we wouldn't. Or the same with tobacco, that we wouldn't make them legal. It's that this sort of ongoing heritage of these mind-altering substances that people wish to have, and tobacco is to some extent a mind-altering substance. It's just that people want them, and they've had them for so long that it is politically inexpedient to get rid of them. However, we that's the terminology. I wouldn't, but this guy and some of his buddies would apparently. We would not make them legal if that was presented to us today as an option. So marijuana should remain illegal in his opinion because it doesn't offer much good to society from a recreational standpoint.
Well, it just seems like that argument just screams to me that they're scared of change. And one thing is change is inevitable, If you look at the benefits that Colorado and Washington have from the tax money, instead of putting their citizens in jail for smoking it, they use those tax dollars to educate on not to abuse marijuana. And if you look, they actually pour a lot of money into programs to teaching kids and young adults and everyone not to abuse the drug and to spread more information.
Yeah,
and
I totally agree with you, Gil. It's absolutely fear of change. And thank you for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
Well, it's also the belief that that humans are your tax livestock to manipulate. So, obviously, if you have a farm, you're going to feed your animals the best and take care of them as best you can so that you get the best productivity out of them. Mm-hmm. The idea is that let's structure society in this way so that we get the most productivity out of human beings. But productivity isn't necessarily what everybody wants out of their life every minute. And that's where human freedom comes in. Human freedom, the decision that you make what you're going to do in your spare time. Frankly, marijuana is less destructive than alcohol in the area of productivity too. Somebody who decides to tie one on a Sunday night or a weekday night or whatever, drink 4 or 5 drinks.
I'm done for the night. Can't get anything done.
Well, the next day.
Yeah, for sure.
They're probably not going to wake up on time. If they do, they're going to have a big old pounding headache. They're not going to be particularly useful at work the next day. Somebody who smokes a joint at night and then, hangs out, whatever, then goes to bed and then gets up in the morning is going to be fine. I'm not advocating for marijuana use. But when I look at alcohol use, I see some advantages to it from a societal standpoint.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it's pretty clear to anyone who's ever done both of those drugs which one is more dangerous. At least it should be crystal clear. Now, it's certainly true that individuals' bodies react differently to different things. So maybe some people react very strongly to marijuana, whereas they don't to alcohol. But for the most part, most people do agree, and most cops who are being honest with you will agree that it's alcohol that leads to the fights in the bars.
Right.
That it's alcohol that leads to domestic abuse situations.
There's not too many police officers out there that have been hit in the head by a marijuana smoker.
Very few. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. Let's go to Ryan, listening to WIBC FM in Indianapolis. Hello, Ryan.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for taking my phone call.
Welcome, sir.
I just wanted to make just one comment. Over my years, I've always heard people that are in pain or anything that say that using drugs, it's not fair for people that aren't in pain to use the drugs. And they kind of demonize the people that just want to do it for fun. recreational.
You're a little muffled. I don't know if you're
my comment
talking
is-
directly into your phone or if you have some sort of headset or something like that in there.
I'm up in the hills of Indiana, so is that better?
Seems a little better. Go ahead.
Okay. But my point is that as a free society that we all want to be, that, maybe when we're at first, we use drugs just as, peer pressure or whatever. But I think people use drugs, especially marijuana, as you find out, it relieves anxiety, pain, whatever is the issue. But as a free society, I think it's people, if you're in pain, that's fine. You should be able to use the drugs, but that doesn't prevent anyone else that just wants to use it recreational. They have that right to do that, and they shouldn't be demonized for that reason.
Well, I think that people are going to demonize if that's what they wish to do. So, for instance, you might have something bad to say about somebody who chooses to inject heroin or drink bleach. Because that's what they want to do. It's their opinion, and we can't manipulate their opinion. That's their opinion. However, when they start using our tax dollars to come after us for doing whatever it is that makes us happy, that's when I have a problem with it.
That's what I'm kind of saying, is that as a free society, and even if someone isn't in pain or they're using the drug for whatever reason they're using it for, they have that right to use that drug because it in the long run, it makes them happy and what my point was is that even though someone's using it for a certain reason, there's also many reasons, especially marijuana, to take that. It relieves anxiety. They're finding out as they're studying it, there's many different reasons that
it's a
marijuana
miracle drug. I mean, marijuana has helped so many people with so many different maladies, and I think that the news that comes out about marijuana and how it can assist people medicinally is helping to remove whatever demonization has come about over the years. Certainly hearkening back, for instance, to the old prohibitionist videos like Reefer Madness, for instance, the classic example of this insanity that surrounded the original prohibition of cannabis and the lies and propaganda that went along with it. Having information about medical cannabis and how it's helping people, I think, is countering some of that demonization. And Ryan, I appreciate your call tonight. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. But another thing that I think helps remove the demonization or make it more difficult for people to make marijuana look like this terrible thing is when you actually have productive people come out of the closet as marijuana users. The idea being that if you're going to have a marijuana legalization protest, you should have some business people there. You should have somebody. You're going to have the hippies. You're going to have the the dreadlocked cap wearing hippies who are going to be there. And
well, they're the ones that are willing to come out.
And God has blessed them. I'm not saying they shouldn't be there. But it's nice to have some people who look like they just left a business meeting show up as well. Somebody in a suit and a tie who's also smoking cannabis. Here in New Hampshire, we had State Representative Mike Sylvia toking on a joint outside of the State House. Got a nice picture of him doing that. And that, I think, is one of those things where, oh, wow, a state representative is smoking cannabis. So maybe this isn't as bad as we thought it was.
Well, New Hampshire and states like it ought to get on the stick, because the thing is now that the ball's rolling, you don't want that state next door legalizing marijuana for recreational purposes
getting the tax money first.
And getting all the revenue from your state first.
Yeah, unfortunately, New Hampshire's behind the ball on that.
You can be that one where they all come to, and you get the extra couple of years worth of tax revenue.
855-450-FREE. Join us on Free Talk Live. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more. DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the Gulf Coast in Biloxi, Mississippi, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, February 27th, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.70 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,223 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $435. Antiwar.com reports a last-minute flurry of endorsements for the U.S.-Russia ceasefire plan meant nearly 100 rebel factions were on board, and even though most of them expressed doubts that the deal would hold, that's a huge number to get behind a scheme to end the Syrian civil war. The real success happened at midnight local time, however, when the ceasefire went into effect and the fighting simply stopped across the vast majority of the country. Though there were isolated reports of gunfire and explosions, there are, as of yet, no confirmations of any serious fighting. Fighting had been escalating in the weeks leading up to the halt, and indeed the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights reported 40 Syrian troops and 18 rebels killed on Friday in the hours leading up to the ceasefire. There have not been any reports of deaths since. UN Syrian envoy Stefan de Mistura said he wants to hold a new round of peace talks on March 7th, assuming the ceasefire largely holds over the next week and a half. While there's a lot of pessimism about that still, they are certainly off to a good start.
For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co.
Reuters reports officials at the University of California, Berkeley said on Friday that they were alerting 80,000 people, including current and former students, faculty, and vendors, of a cyber attack on a system that stores Social Security and bank account numbers. The news comes just more than a week after a Southern California hospital paid hackers $17,000 in Bitcoin to regain control of their computer system after a so-called ransomware attack. The San Francisco Bay Area University said there was no evidence that attackers actually took any personal information, but it was still alerting the 80,000 individuals to be on the lookout for misuse of their information. The school said a hacker or hackers gained access to its financial management software in late December due to a security flaw present when the system was updated. Officials have notified law enforcement, including the FBI, and hired a private computer investigation company. The university said among the potentially affected are 57,000 current and former students, about 18,800 former former and current employees, and 10,300 vendors who work with the school. Those figures come out to about half of the school's current students and 2/3 of its active employees. Large, high-profile organizations and businesses routinely come under cyber attack, and the school said it frequently identifies similar hacking attempts. Paul Rivers, UC Berkeley's Chief Information Security Officer, said in a statement, "The security and privacy of the personal information provided to the university is of great importance to us. We regret that this occurred and have taken additional measures to better safeguard the information." The school said it was providing free of charge credit protection services to those potentially affected.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports a New York judge ordered 20-year-old Layla Aquino to be held on $10,000 bond after her 2-year-old daughter, left home alone, died in an apartment fire. Aquino entered no plea on Thursday to charges of reckless endangerment and endangering the welfare of a child. She was accused of leaving her daughter, Kalina Muldrow, alone in a Brooklyn apartment which caught fire. Police said Aquino was supposed to go to her job at a strip club, but instead went out dancing with a friend. Aquino initially told investigators she left her daughter with a babysitter, but later said she left her home alone. Firefighters were unaware that anyone was in the building when the fire started at 6 a.m. Tuesday morning. The cause of the blaze is under investigation. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
The American robin heralds the beginning of spring in temperate climates across North America. Its red breast makes it easily identifiable as the most disturbingly efficient murderer in the animal kingdom. Robins inculcate their young with these twisted maws. We see an adult robin feeding its young with the ripped-apart viscerae of an innocent worm. Like the Greek hero Atreus eating the flesh of his children at his own table, this black deed must surely curse the entire species. Even the most depraved acts of humanity pale in comparison to the robin's wickedness. Like idiot rapists, they commit their foul deeds with neither foresight nor hindsight. They live entirely in the present. Living beyond space and time, their god is the awful seething maelstrom of chaos at the center of the unfeeling universe.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. And you can join us here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Joining you in studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
We started out by telling you about Washington, D.C., now celebrating a full year of marijuana legalization there, where it's legal to possess up to 2 ounces of marijuana as an adult and cultivate up to 6 plants in your home, but not legal to smoke it in public. Arrests are down significantly for possession, down by 98% from 2014 to 2015. We'll tell you more about it, but your calls come first here. So let's go to the phones and to the fun, where we've got Michael on the line in Alabama. Michael, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hey, shalom. Thank you, Ian
Welcome.
and Mark. It's actually Mishael.
Okay, sorry about that. Mishael.
That's okay. Mishael is a Hebrew name.
Gotcha.
But anyway, I'm coming tonight as a I don't like labels, but I guess I would be coming as a Messianic Jew. In other words, I believe in the Tanakh and the basic teachings of the Old Testament, but also believe in Yeshua or Jesus and the story of the, being crucified on a tree and raised again, and but what I guess sort of a Christian, so to speak, believe in.
Okay.
But and I'm not speaking for all Messianic Jews at all, but I'm saying that I'm in favor of not the legalization of marijuana, but just leaving it alone. and making it not illegal.
It would seem to me that if we were taught anything by the Bible is that humans have free will. And in order to have free will, you need to be able to make decisions. What the government, what people who want the government to make marijuana illegal are doing is acting like God, not acting like people. And this is the thing that Satan was swatted out of heaven for. Those people, if they believe the story, they risk the ire of God for acting like the devil.
Exactly. So I'm saying, if the government has its hands on something that it necessarily should not, so I'm not saying it should be made legal, just not make it illegal. And by the way, one of the basic stories that a lot of Christians, and I'm very conservative as far as the scripture is concerned, with Yeshua and the Holy Spirit and all that. But when the kings, and there says 3 kings or 3 wise men, but because there was 3 gifts, everybody goes in their nativity scene, they put the little 3 kings. Could have been 6 kings, could have been, I don't know, 2. Anyway, the gifts they brought were gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Myrrh is marijuana, opium-based substance.
Really?
Yep.
So they brought drugs to the little baby Jesus?
That gold. Well, I think he was about 2 years old by the time they got to Yeshua's place. But,
gotcha. Hey, Michael, thanks for sharing that. Tell me something about Messianic Judaism, though. So
real quick, I'm not saying Yeshua ran around smoking pot or hashish or anything, okay? But it was used for medicinal purposes.
Hey, if it's good enough for the baby Jesus, it's good enough for me. So
my dad was My dad was a pharmacist, and 50 years ago, he made his own paregoric. He put on little babies' gums, and it was made out of this type of petroleum jelly. It was made out of a tincture of opium.
Michael, I'm just curious about Messianic Judaism. So it is a movement that combines Christianity with Judaism. I'm new to it. I don't really know what's. So does that mean that you believe that in the sort of the triune God, whereas I believe Jews are a monotheistic belief, correct?
I believe in Yahweh, Father God, and Yeshua is His Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, is a person of Yahweh God.
Sounds like the Trinity. So that does mean you believe in the Trinity. Okay. Thank you for the call tonight, Michael. I appreciate
I would not use the word Trinity, but...
something like that. Hey, thanks for the call tonight. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE.
According to Wikipedia, Camphora myrrha tree is one of the primary trees from which myrrh is harvested. And looking at this thing, it's a thorny plant that didn't look anything like marijuana.
So it's not marijuana.
That's the claim of Wikipedia.
Let's go on here. You can bring up anything. James is in Virginia listening to WNIS. Hello, James.
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing this evening?
Good, sir. Go ahead.
First time I've heard the show. I'm really enjoying it, man.
Welcome.
And,
we'll offend you at some point.
First off, guys, let me point out, I don't smoke pot. I don't drink. I'm a pretty social guy and haven't ever needed anything to loosen up in order to have a conversation. But I also don't judge people who do. I guess I'm what you would call an Ayn Rand objectivist, would most closely describe my philosophy. And guys like Dave kill me, who have such a problem with the federal government actually legislating and intervening in people's rights or the prosecution. But he's more than happy at the state level to legislate his morality upon other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, he loves people. I believe him, as long as they think and act just like he does. Just as long as that's the same as him.
Right.
Just as long as they use the same type of drugs that he's
Which is not loving people, right? I mean, to love.
No, it's not.
Right. That's loving yourself. Dave loves Dave, and he wants everyone to act like Dave. But that's not loving
Dave,
people.
Dave, if you're so concerned about abortion, do not have one. It's pretty easy. I could really hear the distaste in his voice when he discussed the LBG community.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what, Dave? Don't have sex with another man if you have that much problem with it. All these things are pretty easy to accomplish without the intervening of the government at a state level, federal, or local level. And it's always killed me how these people say they're so free and we love everything. And they, a lot of it comes from the far right, from, your I guess the Bible, and everything. And you made a good point. If it's about free will, then why do the people feel the need to legislate their morality upon other people who choose to live a different lifestyle?
Yeah, why
He
can't
kept
they
pointing
persuade?
out-
I mean, if it's such a good idea to not do whatever drug, fill in the blank, then you should be able to persuade people to not do it rather than using jail cells.
I'd say the answer is public property, or the thing that we generally call public property. So we have, developed this nation has developed in a paradigm where we have had this notion of an organization called the state. Over the course of 9,000 years that we've been able to prove that governments exist in that form, this is what it has wrought. And one of the issues is public property, sidewalks, things like that. So I can, for instance, thinking of the gay issue, there's a co-host that was on this show, Derek J. At one point, he was talking about his adventures in San Francisco, where they went out to a party on the streets where men were actually having sex in the Castro district on the streets of San Francisco. And I don't know. All I can do is believe what the guy says, but I gotta say that at some point or another, this is just going to be a little too much for Mr. and Mrs. America to put up with. So the answer is, why don't people just shut up? Is because at some point or another, it's going to be thrown in their face.
Well, and also, last time I checked, if a man and a woman was having sex in the street, it's already illegal.
It's a crime. Yeah.
Okay, we already have laws, just like the gentleman pointed out. Well, what if they get in a car, smoking marijuana? Sir, there are already laws preventing people from operating motor vehicles while under the influence of any drug. What these people fail to understand, that in a free society, you do not have the right not to be offended by the choices that other people make to live their lives. And that's one thing Americans need to get the hell over.
I'm with you, James. Great call. Thanks for sharing those thoughts with us. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. He said it was his first time listening. Sounds like he found the right show.
Yeah, it sure does.
855-450-3733.
Not that we're objectivists.
3733. No, certainly not. But we do love liberty, and there's a lot of, I would say there's a lot of overlap between the objectivist community and the libertarian communities. That's what we tend to describe ourselves as here on Free Talk Live. You should be free to live your life how you want, so long as you don't infringe upon the rights of others in the process. And, the whole idea that, someone, if we legalize marijuana, someone might blow it in your face is just a ridiculous, fear-mongering reason to not legalize marijuana or decriminalize it, or, as our caller previously was suggesting, end prohibition of it. I think that would be the ideal, to not have to go through the legalization process.
And it smells better than tobacco. Let's be realistic.
Now, some people probably think differently about that, but I tend to agree with you. 855-450-FREE, that's the toll-free number here. You can join us on the radio. It's Free Talk Live.
Every once in a while, you get information that's worth changing your life for. This is one such time. You can save up to and beyond 25% on all purchases at Amazon. You probably heard of Bitcoin and just not thought much about it. You certainly know that you can get competitive pricing at Amazon, but now you can get a 25% discount on nearly everything you need to live. I've just given you a huge raise, and all you have to do is claim it. You go to saveitpurse.com and open an account. Do this right now. Don't wait. Then you fund the account with Bitcoin. You can buy them through expresscoin.com with a check or money order. There are other ways to get Bitcoin, but that's fast, safe, and easy. This information is worth you changing the way you do things. Go to saveitpurse.com right now, get signed up, and cash in on the huge raise I'm offering you. 15 to 25% off of everything at Amazon through saveitpurse.com. It's saveatpurse.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. Have you ever wondered why farmers can keep their livestock lean and healthy just by feeding them minerals in a nutrient-dense diet? Before market, they cut off their minerals, leaving them to crave high-calorie grains to fatten them up. So if weight control is this easy, why does the medical system prescribe invasive surgical gastric bypass for humans? The truth be told, according to research, you can avoid over 900 different diseases just by getting 90 essential nutrients daily. Check us out on the web at sonsoflibertyteam.com. And order your Healthy Start Pack and get your 90 for life. Or dial 855-301-TEAM. I said essential, not optional, and every day. Easy. 90 for life on the web at sonsoflibertyteam.com. Or call 855-301-TEAM. That's 855-301-TEAM. That's 855-301-TEAM. Check us out on the web at sonsoflibertyteam.com. at sonsoflibertyteam.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com. You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308. As a pioneer of the e-commerce movement, Overstock.com is proud to be the first major retailer to accept Bitcoin. Overstock was the first because Patrick Byrne, Overstock's CEO and founder, firmly believes in personal freedom and cryptocurrency. Over the past 16 years, Overstock has furnished over 18 million homes with a diverse line of products to suit everyone's unique styles and preferences. Support Overstock and freedom of choice while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You may join us here on the live Saturday edition of the program. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we've got Skype. You can Skype into the show here at username LRN.FM. That's our Skype username.
I want to tell you real quick about Super Beets. I've been taking this supplement for probably a month now, and it's great. It not only does it give you extra energy, but it's got it increases your nitric oxide levels. For those of you who have been seeing the medical news in this area, nitric oxide levels can help regulate blood pressure and increase cardiovascular health. If you live long enough, you're going to have cardiovascular issues. That's just it. And if you're over the age of 40, you've probably got you're on your way, if not there. I had it like right about 40. So check it out. Go to ftlbeats.com and read up on it, because it's really it's worth it taking a look, and it's worked for me. And if you don't feel the results, you don't pay for Super Beets. You get a 30-day free supply with your first order. You also get the nitric oxide indicator strips so that you can see that it's working, just like I do. And you can get the free book, Beat the Odds, and all of it comes with free shipping. There's really no risk here. FTLBeats.com, 800-951-8940. FTLBeats.com, 800-951-8940.
Let's go to the phones and the fun. We're talking a lot about cannabis here tonight, as Washington, D.C. celebrates its first full year of having legal cannabis, where if you're an adult, you can have under 2 ounces of cannabis legally, and also you can grow up to 6 plants, which is more like, that's more like a repeal of prohibition, at least a partial repeal of prohibition. We had a caller earlier who was suggesting that they would prefer to not have legalization. We hadn't really gotten into this yet tonight, the differences between decrim, legalization, and repeal of prohibition. Normally, proposals on the table in various different legal forms are legalization or decriminalization. And it can get a little blurry, but between one or the other. What's the difference? Well, classically, the definition of decriminalization is anything that reduces criminal penalties for cannabis, or whatever we're talking about. So in this case, we're talking about cannabis.
So decriminalization is less criminal.
To make it less criminal. But does that also mean that if you make it less criminal to possess, let's say, 2 ounces, like they did in D.C., where it's illegal now to possess 2 ounces, is that decriminalization still because there's still criminal ways to possess it, meaning that if you have more than 2 ounces, it's still criminal? So is that considered decriminalization, or is it considered legalization because it's legal to possess the 2 ounces, or is it considered a partial repeal of prohibition because it's effectively legal to possess 2 ounces, even though there's not a legalized distribution structure that goes along with it, meaning there's not a tax system in place, meaning you can't go into a store and purchase it in Washington, D.C.?
Okay, so I think it's a semantic argument, but if you want me to come down on a side on this one, I'm going to say that what they've done is they've totally decriminalized the possession of 2 ounces or less, meaning that there is no criminal aspect to it. But you can't. It's not legal in the sense that you can sell it or do anything else. So there's no way to build a business around it. So it's not legalized. I'm going to say that just removing the restrictions in that case is you'd call that decriminalization.
All right, let's continue here. You can share your thoughts. Let's talk to Walker, listening in Albuquerque to Kiva. Hello, Walker. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, you're on the radio.
Hi, my name is Doug, and I keep asking you.
You are on a terrible connection. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to put you back on hold, and we'll see if the board op can maybe get with you and either get off of whatever. I don't know if that was like
whatever that problem
a
is.
headset or what was going on there, but we couldn't really understand you. Let's continue here with Ross, and Ross is in Myrtle Beach, listening to WRNN. Hello, Ross.
How you doing, Mark and Ian? I really appreciate y'all having me tonight.
Welcome, sir. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Well, first off, I'd like to say happy anniversary to D.C. on their marijuana laws.
Yeah.
And second off, I would just like to add that marijuana has been classified as a Schedule I drug for most of its adult life, I would say. Long story short, though, there's pretty much 4 or 5 other drugs, that are classified as Schedule I drugs that don't really meet the criteria as I know it. I'm a law school student. I really wouldn't prefer to say where, but
Schedule I criteria, meaning that it's supposed to have no recognized medicinal use.
No medicinal use is one. 2, it's not addictive as a substance. And I'm not really fresh up on the third one, but
No. What you're saying is it would have to be addictive in order for it to be a Schedule I, correct?
Right. It's just, there's no medicinal use. I think there's something about lack of safety or something if you use it. But, if you think about, just broadening the spectrum here, any of the psychedelics that are on there are pretty much well known to be non-addictive. A lot of people using, or that have PTSD can use some sort of psychedelic to help themselves out, just like other people use marijuana to, cure their ailment. And arguably, another thing that the DEA supports is that none of these drugs should be prescribed by a doctor for any medical use or anything like that. With all these pain, killers and stuff that are out today, that's pretty much just a variation of heroin in my eyes. And
absolutely, heroin was prescribed in the past. Heroin, as
you can go look up heroin advertisements on Google, and you will find these old-timey advertisements for heroin.
Cocaine was prescribed,
and many people would claim that the economic engine that is the United States today was built in this time frame. The Gilded Era is what it's referred to as. So basically, if you support drug prohibition laws, you hate productive Americans. That's what it really comes down to. It's the nanny state that has the more restrictions on humans that's created the drug war, not good old-fashioned American values.
Yeah, you can now. I don't have the full list of Schedule I here, so I don't know what all of the Schedule I drugs are, but certainly heroin has recognized medical uses. It was used medicinally for a long time. And further, as TJ the Spy was explaining to us last night, I believe it's called diacetylmorphine in its non-street name form, heroin.
Exactly right.
That he described that when it goes into your body, it actually turns into morphine. So
that's exactly right. And I just don't understand exactly how they can per se decriminalize or legalize a certain Schedule I drug that does not meet any of these criteria, and not necessarily, decriminalize or legalize the rest of the ones that meet the same criteria. By no means do I think that, it should be free game to anyone that wants to use heroin all day long. I mean, but then at the same time, if you're a productive member of society, who really cares what you do?
Nothing's stopping someone from using heroin all day long right now, except the fact is that it's illegal, and so therefore they could go to prison for it, or they could get another batch of heroin that's 10 times stronger without realizing it and then overdose accidentally. Right. Hey, Ross, great call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Of course, heroin is, well known for its pain-killing properties. I don't know how well known that is, but it is a painkiller. It's an opiate. And further, cocaine, apparently on the Schedule 1 list, according to rsdhope.org. Cocaine has been used as a topical anesthetic, I believe, if I'm not mistaken about that.
Analgesic? I don't know.
It's a painkiller, basically.
Yeah.
Toll-free
not
number,
a particularly good one.
Yeah. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That allows you to bring up whatever's on your mind on this live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live.
Are you looking to sell body armor? Want to make extra money selling body armor at your local gun shows? With low minimum buys and great returns, Katie Armor is the answer. Make money in your spare time. It's American-made body armor with the quickest turnaround in the industry, which means you get your product when you need it at very competitive rates. And they'll ship it to you for free. If you own a business, give them a call today at 855-488-KATIE. That's 855-488-2284. Or go to katiearmor.com. Come and take it.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson Adam Pulaski of the Pulaski Law Firm with principal office in Houston, Texas is the attorney responsible for the content of this ad. This ad is not legal advice, and the choice of a lawyer should not be based solely upon advertisement. Services may not be available in all states. Attention Xarelto users. If you or a loved one took Xarelto and suffered a serious bleeding event, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Xarelto is a popular prescription blood thinner used to prevent blood clots and protect patients from strokes. These serious bleeding events have led to numerous cases of hospitalization and even death. Phone lines are open 24/7. Call 800-261-0937. That's 800-261-0937.
Are you getting squeezed by the economic downturn? Hey, you were doing fine. Then, all of a sudden, you're having a tough time paying your family's credit card bills. Maybe you were downsized or even lost a job, but you still owe 10 grand or more in credit card bills. And you just can't afford the minimum payments anymore. We're here to help. We are the Genesis Debt Partners. We know the secrets to negotiate better terms with your creditors. Make a free 10-minute call right now and learn how we can help you get out of debt. 800-981-7590. If you owe 10 grand or more in credit card debt and you want to learn how you can pay less and get out of debt faster, call right now. 800-981-7590. 800-981-7590. Get out of debt now. 800-981-7590.
Have you felt different almost your entire life? Like the way things are run never made any sense? They've tried to get you to believe that you couldn't handle making all of your own decisions, that your lives had to be governed by a set of rules based on punishing everyone for the mistakes of a few. It's been a long journey, but the Free State Project has finally met its goal of 20,000 participants. Early movers have already accomplished so much, but we still need your help to show the world we can build a shining beacon of liberty. Stop making excuses and join us here in New Hampshire. Visit freestateproject.org.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but we'll hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com. Looking for an excuse to come check out New Hampshire's liberty activism scene this fall? You're invited to Keenvention. Keenvention is your chance to meet dozens of key liberty activists from across the Shire. You can explore the beautiful little city of Keene, discuss various forms of activism with seasoned veterans, have fun at social events like the Hallow Keene Costume Dance Party, and learn about making the move. Keenvention received rave reviews last year. If you missed it, visit keenvention.info for full video coverage of every speaker and panel. Join old and new friends and neighbors in Keene for Keenvention this November 4th through November 6th. Tickets are available now for a special pre-order price of just $50 via credit card or Bitcoin. However, only 100 pre-order tickets are available, so reserve your tickets now at keenvention.info. Visit keenvention.info for more, or look for our page and event on Facebook. That's keenvention.info.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, live Saturday edition. Plenty of time for you if you want to join us right now. We've got an open line at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Arcade City is available now in both the app stores, the Play Store for Google and the App Store for Apple. Apple takes a little while longer than Google to get things approved. They finally did this week, so if you've been waiting to download the Arcade City ride-sharing app, you can now do that from either one of those two locations. You can also drive for Arcade City. Well, why would you want to do that? You got Uber, you got Lyft, you got these ride-sharing platforms that are ubiquitous and popular and global. Why go with the upstarts? Why go with Arcade City? Well, it's because it's built by drivers for drivers, and it's more decentralized than Uber and Lyft. Unlike Uber and Lyft, which are big corporations that are just sort of making centralized decisions about where they should go and what their rates should be of their drivers, meaning that the central company, Uber or Lyft, can cut your rates or increase them, but they've recently cut rates, and a lot of drivers are upset about that. Can cut your rates without really caring about what you think. If you don't like it, they know that you can leave, but they'll probably find some new drivers to replace you. So what do you do in that situation? Well, you join Arcade City, and then you'll get to set your own rates. Now, Arcade City's brand new to the scene, so you can't download the app and expect to all of a sudden be receiving a bunch of rides. You've got to push it. This is like more of an entrepreneurial experience than Uber and Lyft. You've got to be able to get out there and market yourself effectively as a driver for Arcade City to potential riders. And you can learn more about that. Just go to arcade.freetalklive.com if you want to drive for Arcade City. You do have to pass a background check, and if you're an existing Uber or Lyft driver, that's easy to prove. But you do not need to be an Uber or Lyft driver now to sign up for Arcade City. You can just go to arcade.freetalklive.com. And again, as long as you can prove a background check, you'll get in and get approved to be a driver for Arcade City. Now, if you prefer to ride with Arcade City, you want to try that out, just go to arcaderide.freetalklive.com. But again, to drive for Arcade City, you can keep all of what you earn, unlike Uber and Lyft, which are taking like 20 or 25%. So keep everything with Arcade City, and it's more decentralized. So go to arcade.freetalklive.com to get signed up to drive there. Let's go to your calls and your thoughts. We'll continue here. Lots of calls about cannabis here tonight. We're going to try Walker a second time here. He had a bad connection before, but I'm told it's cleared up a bit. Go ahead, Walker.
Hi, can you guys hear me now?
Yep, we got you. Go ahead.
Hi, my first name's Doug.
Doug.
Last name's Walker.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You're on the radio, Doug. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was listening to your show, caught the middle of it, about legalizing marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And being a recovering addict, as far as I'm concerned, they should legalize it. Because I never heard anybody say, and I'm speaking about myself, that a lot of the problem with drug addiction is the people's personality. And me personally, I can't do it because I have an addictive personality.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to your caller, I think he was from Indiana, that said it was disrespect about, blowing marijuana smoke in people's face.
Yep.
See, I have a choice. I can walk away from it.
Right.
And I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I mean, it's just nothing more than fear-mongering to say that if you legalize marijuana, that all of a sudden people are going to start blowing it in your face.
And I want to congratulate you, Doug. Many times, recovering addicts will call the show, and they don't have the intestinal fortitude. They don't have the nerve to be able to, live in a world where other people get to make decisions like the ones that they made, and they want to see all the world locked down because it'll make it easier for them to stay off the hooch or whatever it is that they.
If I can't do it, no one else should be able to do it.
And so, your empathy is admirable.
Well, thank you. You just made my head bigger than it is.
Hey, thanks, Doug, for your call. Go ahead, real quick.
how can I condemn somebody that smokes marijuana when I've been there? And as far as I'm concerned, the government should stay out of it.
Totally with you.
The big power.
Thanks, Doug. You're absolutely right. I appreciate that. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. So there you go. A recovering drug addict says legalize it. Don't use me as an excuse. Don't use the fact that there are people who have problems with drugs as an excuse to keep them legal. Because, again, if you do care about people, and that's the purported reason why people support the war on drugs, because most people won't tell you to your face that they want to see all drug users executed. They won't tell you that.
Well, they don't mean that. Come on.
That's what
they just don't want people to do
what
things that they don't want them to do. It's a control aspect, and this is most of the problem with human interaction is one group of humans wanting to control the actions of another group of humans. If people can sort of let go and say, look, these are the rules. There are very few of them, but we enforce them thoroughly. No hitting, no touching inappropriately, no stealing. And you know, these rules, that's where we're drawing the line. The rest of this, you know, that's fine. You're responsible. You can smoke all the weed you want, and you're responsible for every action you take afterwards and before and all the time. So if you smoke a bunch of weed and you jump off a building, kersplat, as far as I'm concerned, your estate should have to pay for the cleanup. If you smoke a bunch of weed and you drive a car and you do some damage, your insurance company, you're responsible. That's what it comes down to. It's personal responsibility. We don't need a bunch of nannies running around enforcing all the rules.
What I was saying, though, Mark, was that most people who want to see drugs stay illegal would not tell you they want to see drug users executed. Most of them don't want that. They want what they believe is best for that person. And they believe that it's best for that person to not do drugs. So I think that most people are motivated to see the war on drugs continue because they do believe that it's in the best interest of the people. That's what I was trying to get out there, was that there are some people who do believe that drug users should be executed, but I think they're in the small minority of the people who support prohibition. Most people believe in prohibition because they believe it's a way they can mold society into behaving in the way that they want them to. But it just doesn't work. And using force on people, using the threat of force against people has unintended consequences. And further, I would just like to suggest that if you do claim to care about people, if that's why you're supporting the war on drugs, because you want the best for people, you've got to understand that in order to get people to where you want them to be, the threat of force should not be part of that equation. It should not be part of what you're entering into the to the equation. What you should be using is persuasion. You should be using logic. You should be using incentive. To motivate people, to inspire them to do what it is that you want them to do. You don't want someone to do what you want out of fear, because then they're not really valuing whatever it is that they're doing. They're not really coming to the conclusion on their own. They're just simply doing it because you're holding the axe over their head.
This argument's been made many times throughout the centuries, is there's no morality when people don't get to make a decision. That's just simply bondage. It's servitude. When you tell people how they have to act and they come to different conclusions and you get all upset and then you attempt to control their behavior, what are you but a control freak?
Let's continue here. We've got John in Pennsylvania. John, you're on Free Talk Live on the Live Saturday show.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's on your mind, John? Go ahead.
Conservative John out here in Pennsylvania, Republican, smoke pot, sitting here drinking, and I think that the biggest problem with marijuana is the testing aspects of it. Like you said, going to work and whatnot, and having somebody drug test you 2 weeks after you smoke a joint, you're not high anymore, and it comes up in your blood.
Yeah.
Where somebody can sit here and drink all night, and the next day they go to work, say they get in a fender bender somewhere, and they're taken in for testing. The alcohol doesn't even show up.
Yep.
So that's the main thing. I think we need better testing for enforcement at work. For marijuana, if you want to smoke a joint on Friday, it's not going to bother you on Monday when you're at work. And there has to be some kind of threshold in the testing that says you just smoked within the last 2 hours, or if you smoked 2 days ago.
I trust science to come up with this.
The marketplace certainly could.
As
probably.
I understand, there is a test, but it's expensive, and the marketplace will bring down the price with supply and demand, that sort of thing.
Generally will. Thanks, John, for your call tonight. I appreciate it. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Moments remain. Maybe enough time for you. It's Free Talk Live. Currency is too important a thing to be left in the hands of government bureaucrats, especially when billions of dollars can be created with the swipe of a pen. Overstock.com supports the cryptocurrency movement because it returns the power of an inflation-proof form of money to the people where it belongs. Did you know that you can use Bitcoin to pay for anything Overstock.com sells while enjoying free shipping on orders of 0.211 Bitcoin or more? If you support freedom and the cryptocurrency movement, you should support Overstock.com.
Are you searching for your soulmate? Someone you can trust, who will never betray you? Or cooperate with the NSA? Stop searching. With EasyDNS, you found a keeper. EasyDNS does it all. Domain names, web hosting, and managed WordPress hosting. EasyDNS stands up for your internet freedom. And with servers in Canada, they do not cooperate with the NSA. Go to EasyDNS.com. You'll love their services or get a full refund. They guarantee it. And they accept Bitcoin. That's EasyDNS.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website, fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper, FPP News, at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free, at apps.lrn.fm.
This is your Robertson Roberts Brokerage Daily Precious Metals Update. On Friday, gold is down $8 at $1,226 per ounce. Silver is 25 cents lower at $14.95 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at $424 US. It's the end of the week, and we're seeing a slight sell-off in gold and silver. To take advantage of this, give us a call at 800-874-9760 or online at rrbi.co.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can join us right here, toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Maybe you've heard that the Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 people who've signed up, like you and I did, Mark, a long time ago. Signed up for the Free State Project, pledging to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. If you're a libertarian, if you're a voluntarist, if you're someone who understands the ideas of liberty and you're willing to actually put them into action and work towards more freedom sometime in the future, well, then you really should join the Free State Project at freestateproject.org and start planning your move to New Hampshire. Why New Hampshire? Why was New Hampshire chosen as the destination for the Free State Project? Well, check out the 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. It's a great documentary film that you can watch for free online tonight. Go to 101reasonsfilm.com and you can watch it there. It's on YouTube. It's just an hour long, and it will just rapid fire hit you with 101 reasons why New Hampshire is the destination for people who care about freedom. Go to 101reasonsfilm.com as we go to the phones and to the fun. Tracy is in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Tracy.
Hi, guys. How are you tonight?
Welcome. You're on the radio. Doing great.
Well, I'm calling in for a couple of reasons. First of all, I spent about 3 months in Colorado, and though it was nice to be able to partake of the medical and recreational marijuana there because it's legal, what I found was that the price gouging for things like rent made the homeless population enormous. And so shelters were overrun, and the needs were just really sad to see. The other thing was that when I moved to Indiana, because you cross state lines and you can go to jail for it, the reason I was taking marijuana was because I had a traumatic brain injury a little less than 3 years ago, completely disabled me. Went through the pharmaceutical route twice, doctor recommended, and both medications nearly killed me with a side effect.
Yikes.
So here you go. You know, the hard part is that society is so ingrained to think, doctor writes a script, take the pill, and you're fine. Pills almost killed me. So I take something that's natural, but it's illegal. I can go to jail for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's quite it's a challenge for people to figure out how then to be able to live a life that's full and be able to take care of things like disabling symptoms, but yet not be criminalized in the process. Or you just have to move to another state again.
Right. Well, that's what it seems to be. Is that people are, you know, they're forced to make a decision. Do I want to live around what loved ones? And that can be, you know, really helpful in this bad economy to be able to live near family,
especially
right?
if you're sick,
and that sort of thing. Or, you know, do I want to be a criminal? And that's a tough decision.
Mm-hmm.
Tracy, thanks for sharing your experience with us here tonight. We do appreciate hearing from you. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You want to try to get some more thoughts on the radio here tonight? Mark is also in Indiana, listening in Indy to WIBC. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, right off the bat, I feel bad for people that benefits them for medical reasons. Recreational thing, I'll make a comment on that moment after this point across. I actually have a question for you. Wondering if you guys have an answer.
Yeah, okay.
What about in the case I don't do anything. I don't use anything. I'm relatively I just whatever party pooper.
You don't drink?
But I got tipsy twice in my life.
Okay.
So there you go. There's your answer. My concern is if I'm sitting, I drive a truck for a living, semi-truck and that. Then all of a sudden I get sent in for a drug test. But let's just say the day before that, or maybe even that day, I walked through a cloud of secondhand smoke, what have you, from a bunch of people sitting there huffing and puffing it away, and I breathe it in. I got to breathe. And will that be in my system? I guess
unlikely.
That's my question.
It won't. It shouldn't be. It should be a trace amount, and they generally have a threshold that they rate that they don't rate below.
Yeah,
so,
it's highly unlikely.
I've taken tests back when I was younger, and I'd smoked within say 20 days, but it didn't show up because I was thin enough and drank enough water beforehand that it didn't make a difference. But it was probably in the urine. It just wasn't enough to trip their signals.
So yeah, not really something to worry about.
But don't eat a poppy seed bagel.
But just remember, when you're walking through a cloud of smoke, it's all secondhand anyway, so it's already been likely inhaled into their body first before being exhaled, and then maybe you inhaling a portion of it as you're passing through briefly. This is, nothing to be concerned with. Anything else you want to share tonight, Mark?
Yeah, well, I guess another example is I'm working in a garden, the backyard, and neighbors are all out there smoking away, and there's a breeze blowing my way. I'm not thinking anything of it. I'm assuming probably not, but
you wouldn't want to stay in a place where you will continue to inhale it. So if you were downwind from a fire which was burning bales of marijuana and you continued to inhale it, then I would say there's a chance you might get high off of that and then possibly be detectable with a drug test. So I would say that if you have the ability to avoid continuing to inhale marijuana, then you would probably want to put some sort of measures into place to avoid that. But just a brief brief encounter with it, I wouldn't worry too much about. Thanks, Mark, for your call tonight. No. Let's continue here. We've got Jeff. He's west of Chicago. And, Jeff, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. This doctor after you on the weekday is always talking about how good beets are. I chopped beet up and put it in some pea soup, split pea soup, and it was really good, and I felt some benefit from it. It's, like good for your digestive system apparently and stuff like that.
I think you said how good beets are, but you got cut out.
Red beets. Yeah, I chopped up a red beet and put it in some split pea soup.
They're finding a lot of health benefits to beets, yeah.
Yeah, thankfully it's not illegal to do that. Thanks for the call, Jeff. I appreciate it. Let's go to Mike listening in Myrtle Beach. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Mike.
Yes.
Hey, you're on the radio.
Yes, sir.
You got to turn down the radio in the background or it's going to drive you crazy. Hearing us and then hearing us again. It's going to drive me crazy, too, if I keep hearing it. Yeah, you got to turn that down.
Okay, I grew up in the 60s when marijuana was everywhere.
Yeah.
Went to Woodstock. Marijuana was everywhere. I mean, for years, 60s and 70s, everybody smoked marijuana. The police didn't care, really. I mean, they'd pull you over, your car smelled like pot. They didn't jerk you out and take you to jail or anything like that. Then all of a sudden, bam, everything turned around, and now it's all illegal and everything. That's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is crazy. They figured out they could make a bunch of money off of it is what happened, Mike. The police figured out this was a cash crop for them, and I got to let you go, but thanks for the call tonight. Terrible phone. Toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But, yeah, it became something that they could really rake in the dough because it's easy to detect. It's, unlike a lot of drugs, you can easily find marijuana just with a human nose, let alone a dog sniff.
There's problems with, illegal drugs generally, right? Like there's societal problems that seem to follow these around. So the idea in the late 60s under the Nixon administration was let's solve these problems with enforcement, and we'll see how that goes. So then there's the Say No to Drugs campaign under Reagan. Yeah. There was the expansion of the policing departments under Clinton, and it's just kept on going and going. Now these organizations they're big, money-hungry government bureaucracies that make their living by putting your children in prison. And we've got this giant prison industrial complex that supports police unions. The politicians obviously make a buttload on it. Don't forget the prison guard unions. There's just the private prisons. There's a tremendous amount of money being made on the backs of the drug war. And a lot of the people that are in prison that have committed violent crimes or say theft type crimes, they wouldn't be there if drugs were illegal either, because some people are stealing stuff to get drugs.
District marijuana reforms have already saved thousands of people from facing arrest. Marijuana arrests have plummeted since the implementation of Washington, D.C.'s 2014 marijuana decrim law and the further-reaching ballot initiative later that year. From 2010 to 2015, marijuana arrests have dropped over 92%. Arrests for possession fell by 99.2%, and arrests for possession with intent to distribute are also down 85.5%. Distribution arrests decreased by 71.8%. This reflects local police response to the desire of district residents to focus their limited resources elsewhere. Let's go briefly to James in Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark. Go ahead, James.
I would submit to you that the reason why my fellow Republican Maggie Hansen, not to mention millions of Democrats, don't want marijuana to be legal is all you have to take a look at is the wasted and misspent life of Rich Paul, Chris Cantwell, Ian Bernard, Mark Edgington, and I could go on and on.
Chris Cantwell is not a marijuana user. Thanks for the call, though. We'll see you tomorrow night online in the meantime at freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Off the Air Live is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
Temporarily from the Gulf Coast in Biloxi, Mississippi, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, February 27th, 2016. Silver is trading at $14.70 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,223 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $435. Antiwar.com reports a last-minute flurry of endorsements for the U.S.-Russia ceasefire plan meant nearly 100 rebel factions were on board, and even though most of them expressed doubts that the deal would hold, that's a huge number to get behind a scheme to end the Syrian civil war. The real success happened